The ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia has been a major source of tension in Eastern Europe for several years now. What started as a relatively minor dispute over Crimea in 2014 quickly escalated into a full-blown war, with both sides accusing the other of aggression and violations of international law. In this article, we will take a closer look at the causes and consequences of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Causes of the conflict. The roots of the Ukraine-Russia conflict can be traced back to the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. With the end of the Cold War, Ukraine became an independent nation and began forging closer ties with the West. However, Russia has always regarded Ukraine as part of its sphere of influence, and has been unhappy with Ukraine's attempts to align itself with NATO and the European Union. In 2014, Ukraine's pro-Russian President Viktor Yanukovych was ousted in a popular uprising, and a new government that was seen as pro-Western was installed. Russia responded by annexing Crimea, which had been part of Ukraine since 1954. The move was widely condemned by the international community, and Western nations imposed economic sanctions on Russia in response. Russia's actions in Ukraine did not stop with the annexation of Crimea. Pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine, who were opposed to the new government in Kiev, began an insurgency in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Russia was accused of providing military and logistical support to the rebels, although it denied any involvement in the conflict. Consequences of the conflict. The conflict in Ukraine has had a profound impact on the region and beyond. Thousands of people have been killed, and many more have been displaced from their homes. The fighting has also caused significant damage to infrastructure and the economy. The annexation of Crimea has been particularly controversial, as it represents the first time since World War II that a European nation has taken territory from another by force. The move has been widely condemned by the international community, and many countries have refused to recognize Crimea as part of Russia. The conflict has also had a wider impact on international relations. The United States and other Western nations have imposed economic sanctions on Russia, which have had a significant impact on the Russian economy. Russia, in turn, has responded with counter-sanctions and has become increasingly isolated from the rest of the world. Attempts to resolve the conflict. Despite numerous attempts to resolve the conflict, the situation in Ukraine remains tense. In 2015, a ceasefire was agreed upon, but it has been repeatedly violated by both sides. Talks have been held in an attempt to find a peaceful solution, but little progress has been made. One of the main stumbling blocks in the peace process has been the issue of Crimea. Ukraine insists that it should be returned to its control, while Russia maintains that it is now part of its territory. There are also disagreements over the status of the separatist regions in eastern Ukraine and the degree of autonomy they should have. To sum up, the conflict between Ukraine and Russia is a complex and long-standing issue that has its roots in the collapse of the Soviet Union. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the subsequent insurgency in eastern Ukraine have caused significant damage to the region and strained international relations. Despite numerous attempts to resolve the conflict, a lasting peace has yet to be achieved. The situation in Ukraine remains tense, and it is unclear when or if the conflict will be resolved.